Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Abduh bin ZUNNABLI. I'm from class IC 110-5AA. Today our group would like to present about development of zakat management in Malaysia. So let's check it out. Alright, first of all, we move to the introduction. Zakat, its significance is revealed in its being one of the 5 pillars of Islamic on which the Islamic code of life is based. In the fact, the solat injunction is always preceded in the Quran by that of zakat. The obligation of zakat is recorded in the Quran in Surah An-Nur verse 65. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Wa aqimus salah wa atuz zakah wa atiur rasul la'allakum turhamun. Sadaqallahul azim. And keep up prayer and pay the poor rate and obey the messenger that you may obtain mercy. Zakat has not been made obligatory for this ummah alone. It was ordained during previous prophet as well. This is an institution which have effectively introduced during the golden era of Islamic history. In Malaysia, Kelantan was the first state to establish body which later became a model to other Malay states. Under this model, the Imam has been empowered to govern zakat related matters, and portion of zakat collection would be delivered to the state government as a financial resources for Islamic affairs.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad HELMY bin ZOLKEPLI. I'm from IC 110-5AA. I would like to continue this presentation. My point is 2.0 Basics of Zakat. Let's go through it. Okay, based on this diagram, I'll explain about the definition of zakat. Okay, zakat literally means to be clear, to grow, to increase. So, the act of zakat means purifying one's wealth to gain Allah's blessing to make it grow in goodness. Okay, the next point, types of zakat and 8 categories of recipient. Asnaf. Okay, first, zakat badaniyah, or we call as zakat fitrah. Zakat al-fitr is due after the month of Ramadan is over. Each Muslim must pay it on his behalf and for those whom he is duty bound to support. Next is zakat maliyah, or zakat mal. Zakat al-mal is applicable on all the financial belongings such as currency, gold, silver, property and vehicles, too if this idea held with the intention of trading or saving. Next, we move on to the general conditions for zakat obligation. First is Islam, second is free citizen, and third is complete of ownership, and the fourth reach the nisab, and the fifth complete the haul. Next, we move to the 8 categories of asnaf. First is the faqir, the poor. Second, masakin, the needy. Third, mu'allaf, and the fourth, amilin. Fifth, riqab. Sixth, fi sabilillah. Seventh, gharimin. And the last one, Ibn Sabil.
Okay, next, let's move to the roles and functions of zakat institution in Malaysia. So, as we all know, there are so many roles and functions of zakat institution in Malaysia. But at this moment, I will only present 3 roles and functions of zakat institutions. Okay, so zakat has been shown to have implication for micro and macroeconomic variables. First, zakat is said to be able to have good implications for individual behavior in savings and investment activities without affecting work efforts. The improved macroeconomic impact is expected to be able to cover several dimensions, including allocation efficiency, wealth distribution, economic development, social economy, eradication and poverty stabilization. Okay, first and foremost, zakat and saving. According to some scholars, zakat will increase the country's saving, while others consider the results inconclusive. Zakat institutions are expected to extend savings for people and countries. Zakat indirectly takes part in savings. The impact of zakat on national savings will rely on the character of the function, on consumption followed by society within the behavior of its use. From the statement, we can understand that zakat and saving have a relationship. For example, if an investor get a big profit in his investment, so he need to pay a large number of zakat. When the number of zakat increase, the amount of country's saving will increase. Which from that we can see that zakat can help our country's saving. Okay, next we move to zakat and investment. The driving factor for the amount invested in zakat is free and only the return on demand in the form of zakat. This can work for rich to speculate their resources as they will come from zakat for the entire year. Investment will continue as long as investor net loss isn't expected to be 2.5%, the zakat rate of the ABDUL fund. As a result, success are going to be greater in Islamic economics. In Malaysia, the Securities Commission (SC) is the body accountable for controlling and supervising the capital or exchange. So, we can understand that the investor need to pay zakat if they got profit in return of their investment, which is 2.5%. Sharia Securities Commission will always play a role to make sure the investor pay the zakat as they are the organisation who in charge in this field. The capital market could be a major home that has activities for long-term fundraising and investment, additionally as improving the liquidity of the economic system. During this capital market, every type of stocks and funds are traded. For zakat and shares owned by private companies or cooperative, the Selangor State Fatwa meeting decided that the zakat law theory is as follows. Zakat on share is obligatory to be issued by the corporate supported Hultah law mixed property. However, if the corporate doesn't pay zakat, then the obligation must be fulfilled by the individual in the company. Okay, last but not least, zakat and poverty eradication. High income inequality won't exist during a well-functioning of Islamic economy, as various distribution channels tend to push Muslims towards a central standard of living. Islamic financial institutions, especially zakat and banking institutions, do have a social responsibility to help the poor, especially in the effort eradicating poverty. What can we understand is, zakat institutions should play their roles by helping the poor, for example, in starting a business. Zakat institution can give an amount of capital to the poor to start up their own business. By having this way, the problem of poverty will be settled because by receiving the capital, they can start the business and make money on their own. This is because even there is other contract to give loan by having mortgage, or in Islam we call it as arahnu, it still brings hardship because the real poor have nothing to be mortgaged.
Hello everyone, my name is TAUFIQ bin ROSLAN, and now I'm going to continue the presentation with my point, which is zakat administrations and the methods of the collections in Malaysia. Let's continue to the 4.1 zakat administration in Malaysia. The Malaysian Constitution has placed the administration of zakat under the administration of Islam and under the jurisdiction of the state government. The form of organization in zakat management varies depending on the state administration, but the thing that they to focus on is in Part 3, 13, the 10th schedule, the Federal Constitution states that the source of revenue handed over to the state is zakat fitrah, batul mal, and the other religious revenue. In general, there are various forms of zakat administration structured in Malaysia as follows. Firstly, the direct zakat administration by the State Islamic Religious Council or MAIN, for example, in Perlis, Kelantan, Terengganu, Johor and Perak. Secondly is the dual system administration, namely collection matters under subsidiaries or zakat collection institution or IPZ, while the distribution matters remain under MAIN as in the Federal Territory, Melaka, Negeri Sembilan and Pahang. The thirdly is the administration of zakat indirectly by holding other bodies in behalf of MAIN in the collection and distribution of zakat as in Selangor, Penang, Sabah and Sarawak. And lastly, the departmental administration where it is separate from MAIN but it is still led by the Sultan, for example in Kedah. My next point is 4.2 method of collection in Malaysia. Actually, there are many methods that have been done in Malaysia, but I'm going to point out the most common methods right now in our country. Firstly, is the collection through the appointed staff or AMIL. Second one is the collection by short message system or SMS, and third one is the collection through internet banking or online banking. The most common method is the collection through the appointed staff or AMIL. AMIL is an officer who collects zakat from those who are eligible to issue it. AMIL Zakat Fitrah is appointed by the religious council in each state, and they will collect zakat in the designated areas. AMIL who has been assigned will collect from Ramadan until before the Fitri prayers on 1 Shawwal. Then, they will hand over the collection of the zakat fitrah to the head of Amil, and the head of Amil will hand it over to the Baitul Mal for the distribution process. This method of collection can further speed up the collection process and also can target large collections, and at the same time can promoting the obligation of zakat fitrah to the general public. The next method is collection by short message system or SMS. The method of zakat collection in Malaysia is moving towards progress when several states in Malaysia have introduced zakat payment through short message service. As example, the existence of M-Zakat introduced by the Maxis Berhad and the Selcom Berhad after being appointed as a zakat collecting agent in several states, namely Selangor, Melaka, Sabah, Kedah, Perlis and Pahang. The payment method is as follows. You can type the Selcom and then type fitrah, distance, Selangor and send it to the 21999 and follow the next instruction that will be told. Lastly, is the collection through internet banking. In Malaysia, internet banking system has become as one of the basic technology that everyone has been able to done. Therefore, the internet banking system or online banking also has been practiced as a method to pay zakat fitrah nowadays. Among the banks that are offering this service are Bank Islam, RHB Banks, Maybank, CIMB Bank and Bank Rakyat. This method is also seen as very effective where
Alright, in conclusion, zakat is an obligation for every Muslim individual, which is not a new law, but has been prescribed since the time of the previous prophet. Besides, there are special institutions for each state that manage the collection and distribution of zakat to those involved. They have their own role and function in implementing it. And for the last but not least, sustainable administration and distribution of zakat in Malaysia is expected to be continued in ensuring smoothness and the success of wakaf institution in Malaysia in the future.